Hi guys, it's ASBYT and the OnePlus 7 Pro has just launched. It promises to be a very popular device, but with its new triple camera setup and a higher price tag, one of the big questions will be just how good is this new camera and can it hang with the big boys? So in this video I'm going to do a camera comparison test review between the OnePlus 7 Pro, the iPhone XS Max, the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus and the Huawei P30 Pro. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. Right, so firstly we're going to take a look at some Cityscape shots, mainly focusing on the different lenses used in each device. So here is a standard shot taken on each. Then we're going to see each phone's zoom capabilities, starting with optical zoom. 2 times on the iPhone and Samsung, and 3 times on the OnePlus 7 Pro. But unfortunately, they're all dwarfed by the 5 times on the Huawei P30 Pro. As well as optical zoom, each phone has digital zoom as well, with the XS Max, the 7 Pro and the Galaxy S10 Plus devices all going up to 10 times, but way out in front again is the P30 Pro with 50 times zoom. What you can do with this thing is mind-blowing. Also on this same spot, we'll take a look at the ultra wide angle lenses on the phones, obviously apart from the iPhone, which only has 2 lenses and no wide angle lens. According to the latest leaks, this will be a feature added to the iPhone 11, but unfortunately for now, you'd have to go without. One thing to note about these wide angle shots is how much wider and more saturated the colours are on the Samsung, but more on colour science later. Here are some more examples of the zoom capabilities of the devices, and one thing to note here is, yes, you can't zoom in as far on the 7 Pro as you can on the P30 Pro, but look how sharp the clock looks on the OnePlus device in this picture compared to the rest. One final look at zoom, but only looking at optical, and again 5 times on the P30 Pro is awesome, with my favourite in the wide angle lens department being the Samsung device. If we actually crop this photo in though, again I'm really impressed with the sharpness and detail of the text on the OnePlus 7 Pro picture. And before we move on from the Cityscape shots, in these next pictures the HDR capabilities of the iPhone and the Samsung shine through, with the OnePlus and Huawei devices doing a pretty good job, but they are slightly overexposing areas of the sky, creating a slight lack of detail in the clouds, etc. The OnePlus 7 Pro has warmer colour tones, with the P30 Pro appearing the brightest. The wide angles again just proving how much extra of the scene you can get into your pictures on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Okay, so we are now doing a front-facing camera video recording test. This is the OnePlus 7 Pro and it is in 1080p, so let me know what you think of the audio, the picture quality of course, and the video stabilization. Right, so now we're on to the Huawei P30 Pro, again maximum of 1080p. Let me know what you think of the video quality, the stabilization, and of course the audio again. Okay, so now we've jumped onto the iPhone XS Max. Again, we're shooting in HD, full HD at 60 frames a second. Let me know what you think of the video quality, the stabilization, and of course the audio. And I can already see, and you're going to tell me the same, that it makes my face look like a tomato. The oversaturation on the iPhone camera is just insane. Right, so now we've jumped onto the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, and one of the main differences between this and the rest of them is that with this front-facing camera, not only can we shoot in 1080p like we are now, but we can also shoot in Quad HD as well. So we're going to flip to that right now. Right, so we're now on to the Quad HD of the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Remember, this is the only smartphone out of these 4 that can film with this front-facing camera in Quad HD. The rest of them are highest maximum of 1080p. So is it worth it? Let me know. Now we have our first selfie, and wow, what a face. Apologies for the subject matter, but we'll move swiftly on. Cooler skin tones on the P30 Pro, with the blue of the sky really coming through. But if you look closely, the face is very soft, and the sharpest shot to my eyes is actually the OnePlus 7 Pro, with an indifferent performance on the iPhone, sharp detailing around the eyes and nose, but actually as we move away and up towards the hair, for example, there's a real lack of focus there, and that's because the edge detection on the iPhone XS Max continues to leave a lot to be desired. It's actually really really poor on the right hand side of my face, and I even took a second photo just to test it, and again it really struggled. It seems that it thinks that my face is part building, which is great. ASBYT Brickhead. No real edge detection problems on the S10 Plus, although I do often have problems with overexposure on that front camera. On this occasion though, a decent job. Now we jump onto some night shots, and this is where the P30 Pro really comes into its own. Sometimes slightly artificial, but my word does it look good. There is a software update available on the S10 Plus, which does actually provide a designated night mode, which has improved certain scenarios, but also what really impressed me was how the OnePlus 7 Pro in certain situations went toe to toe with the big hitters. Although to be fair, you would expect that now with this higher price tag, with the Pro model really venturing outside of the flagship killer range. In this next shot, the iPhone and to some extent the S10 Plus overexposed the sign here, with the text much more visible on the 7 Pro and the P30 Pro. And this next shot is further proof that while the P30 Pro is still the nighttime king / queen, we are an equal rights channel here. It's proof that the advancements in OnePlus's nighttime photography are really impressive. As we cruise through these next shots, just pay attention to how the iPhone probably fares the worst, but overall, as expected, the P30 Pro is a low light monster. Just look at the details it picks up in this shot, and here's a picture of a Tesla garage, just really because I want a Tesla. Now, the front camera is a different story. On the P30 Pro, and really pretty much across the board, none of them are great in really poor light, and the results are rather terrible. Probably a good thing, knowing my face is behind the darkness. But when we do raise the light levels a little bit, probably my favourite selfie actually here is the OnePlus 7 Pro. That face is rather hideous. Final selfie here is from the S10 Plus because of course it's the only one that has a wide angle front lens. So if that's important to you, it is certainly a plus. Now we jump onto rear video, and firstly the P30 Pro doesn't record in 4K at 60 frames a second. Understandably here, none of them do really a great job with stabilisation, but the iPhone and the Samsung produce brighter and probably more eye-catching footage, even if the 7 Pro is perhaps more natural. 4K at 30 frames a second sees the introduction of the P30 Pro, although it really isn't anything to shout home about. The stabilisation is the worst out of the four, with the OnePlus 7 Pro really competing with the other two, even if I think the iPhone and the Samsung device probably just shade it. There is certainly not much in it, and the results could be subjective here, because also it seems that the iPhone has a real problem with lens flare. And before you say it, yes, I did wipe down the lenses, they are clean. 1080p at 60 frames a second is next, and the P30 Pro actually stabilises better than the 7 Pro. Overall for video, the iPhone and the S10 Plus are probably your best bets, although because like on the P30 Pro, on the S10 Plus you can record video footage using your wide angle lens. So I might sway with the S10 Plus for versatility, but again, S10, XS Max, very close. Now we jump to some portrait shots, and the iPhone and the S10 Plus colours, again, are much more saturated than the other two. The 7 Pro and the P30 Pro probably look more natural, but especially the iPhone picture here really does just pop. Similar themes run through the next shot, although I do like the 7 Pro picture as well, with the P30 Pro underexposing and the 7 Pro overexposing in these next pictures. My favourite shot here is probably the iPhone, followed by the S10 Plus. Now we take a closer look at slow-mo, with the OnePlus 7 Pro having a max of 480 frames per second at 720p or 240 frames per second at 1080p. The iPhone only manages 240 FPS at 1080p. But of course, the super slow-mo champ here has to go to the S10 Plus, being able to record at a whopping 960 FPS at 720p. Now you may be wondering why I've not mentioned the P30 Pro. Well, the least said about it in this department, the better. I actually tried to record this footage 5 times and could barely get it to focus. Huawei certainly need to focus, see what I did there? Focus more on other areas of the camera outside of night mode and zoom. But speaking of zoom, time to go through a few more beast shots from that P30 Pro. And here's another juicy selfie with me trying to look cool. And I definitely failed. And here's 2 landscape scenery shots just to calm the mind. Let me know in the comments which of these you actually prefer. So that's it guys, I hope you did enjoy the video and you did find it helpful. It did take me quite a while to create, so if you did enjoy it, I really would appreciate it if you dropped a little like down below. Subscribe if you're new, plenty more comparison videos on the way. I love you and leave you, I'll see you in the next one. It's ASBYT, peace out.